Okay, here we go with the continuation of our child proportions. I took a tiny bit more time and added a little bit more shading here. I also raised the hand. Guys, I was looking at this, I was like, that arm is way too long. This I think is a little better. So if you want to move your wrist up higher, this is the point where truly you kind of step back and everybody's will shake out a little bit differently, and you just need to look at it and say like, I'm not sure if the arms are right. I'm not sure if this is right. And if you can't figure out exactly how to fix it, put that in your submission, give me a little message, and I'll see if I can give you a little bit of tips. Okay. Okay. Okay, but hopefully you have something that looks childish proportion. Let's do the next one. What we're going to do now is a high hip pose. So this is a really fun pose just to give us something with a little bit more attitude. We use this a lot in fashion illustration. I will show you an unfinished little girl here where she's got her high hip, she's got her weight on this leg, you see it? And so then we get to have a lot of fun with everything else in the pose. So I've got a vertical line here. We are always going to start with that vertical. That gives us a guideline to work off of. And what we're going to do with a high hip pose is we're going to actually draw her spine first. This will be the girl. We'll draw her spine first. So what I want you guys to do is very gently put in this line, okay? This is going to be the center of the torso and the head. And what I want you to notice, and maybe do this, guys, maybe do this, make sure that you're starting no more than max 3/8 of an inch from the line at zero, at level 0. Okay, max. 1/4 inch is fine. Touch the line at level 1. And then down here, even with the end of the stomach area, that is going to be no more than a 1/2 inch away from your vertical. Okay, what happens a lot of the time on these assignments is, and when I do this in the classroom, is people come way out here, and it's really hard to do that drawing. The body parts just kind of don't want to connect to each other. So we're going to do it. I'm even taking mine down a little bit. Okay, I'm about 3/8 of an inch away from that vertical plumb line. When I say plumb line, that's a plumb like this, Plumb. It means falling towards the ground with gravity. Okay, so this is my plumb line, just vertical towards the ground. All right, we're going to put a head on here. So let me go ahead and rough in a head shape, and I'm making it symmetrical off of the line I just drew. Now remember, the line we just drew, this line, so I'm going to dash it. This line is so important. Everything we draw on this kid is going to be symmetrical off of this line, okay? So the shoulders, they're going to be at the same level, but this time they're going to be on an angle, okay? This time they're going to be on a little bit of an angle. If you liked the width of your shoulders before, you can use that again. This time I had just under an inch, so I'm going to go just under an inch. Just under an inch, we'll go right about to there, okay? Let me go ahead and put the sort of hip level in. We had it closer to 3, so I'll put it here, but here's the secret. We're going to turn it on an angle. Okay, we're going to turn it on an angle like that. Let's drop in some shoulder ovals, a little shoulder oval, same as before, but you'll notice they're hanging off of the line. Don't stick them out wider than you already drew, okay? I can tell you guys all the pitfalls, all the things that go wrong as people put it out here outside of the line they drew. Don't do that. Okay, if you want at this stage to put your neck, you can. And I'm now going to connect the same as we did before. I'm going to draw that sort of armpit to armpit stomach shape where I'm going to go whoop. See how it's kind of straight aiming down here? And then this side we can kind of crunch it up. We get a little bit of a blob on this side because this is longer distance than this. Okay. All right. I'm not completely sure I need it to be that curvy, but something like that. Now, double check yourself. Make sure that this distance and this distance are about the same. We don't want your kid to be lopsided. Okay, let's draw the most important thing here, which is the standing leg. So when you look at this pose, I know I have finished ones around. I couldn't find one off really quickly. The whole way this works is that this ankle is on the plumb line, okay? If it wasn't, we would feel like she was falling over. It's really, really important that we get this ankle, the load-bearing leg, on the vertical line. Likewise, the base of the skull basically is also on the vertical, and then everything else can kind of move to the side. But we need to keep them from tipping over, so we keep the base of the skull and the ankle on the plumb line. So there's our ankle. We know that one has to go there. And we know this leg is straight, so let me go ahead and take my ruler and connect my ankle up to my body, okay? That line is going to tell me where to put my knee. I'm going to put it just a little higher than I did before because this hip is higher, okay? Now, once you have that, we can start putting the pieces together. I would say watch me do this before you try it, just so that you don't get too confused. I'm going to put the hip and out to the knee, and there is my lower leg. And then inside this part right here where the crotch and the leg kind of overlap each other, sometimes we need to do a little adjustment there, but I'm going to see if I can get that to fit in like that. A little kneecap while I'm at it. And then here's my foot again. So I'll just do that same foot shape, straight in the middle, flat at the bottom, and go on an angle out to the side. Okay. And I'm connecting right about here. And that is looking like, let me put my numbers in. You know, about 2.5-ish. Okay. Now, we've basically done the hard work here. Okay. This is the base of a high hip pose. And as long as you get this stuff where it belongs, you can have some fun with the entire rest of the body. Okay. Because the kid is holding herself up. She's not going to tip over because this leg is holding her. That means she can kick this leg out. She can do a bent knee here. She can stick it out straight. It can be tucked behind her in some sort of a dance pose. You can do so much with this second leg. It's really up to you, as long as you get the rest of the pose correct. So what do we want to do here? I think I'm just going to keep it simple because usually students find it helpful to have one leg going out to the side. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to put this leg going out this way. Okay. I'll put the knee right here, a little lower than the other knee because this hip's a little lower. I'll put the ankle out here on the line, and now we can just connect the dots. Now, when we turn a leg out a little bit like this, the shapes are a little different. This is going to connect basically straight down the top versus the curve that I had here. And then sometimes we dip in a little bit at the knee and then straight again to the ankle. Versus on the inside, we can get a little bit of a curve, but we get a lot of a curve here because that's where the calf muscle is going. I wish I had a reference photo for this. That would be better, but I'll do my best. Breaking my own rules here, drawn without a reference photo. For the foot in this pose, here's a foot, guys. We're going to draw lots more feet, but I'm going to do a heel and I'm going to do the ball of the foot. They need to be big enough. I'll put my ruler on it so you can see the distance between. I'm going to say from edge to edge, about 1 inch. And once you have those circles, this one's bigger, you can wrap around the heel and you can wrap around the ball of the foot and you can add a little toe and you've got something that looks foot-like. At this stage, I usually pause and try to resolve whatever's going on here. And for me, what I'm seeing is I kind of need to overlap that a little bit and make this leg a little skinnier on the outside. So everybody's will be different if you need a little correction there. And it is still feeling a little bit cramped through the hips. I think I'm going to bring this out a little bit more. Okay. And now I'm feeling like I probably shouldn't have made that adjustment. So you got to play with it at this stage. And see if you can get it to work. And then if you're not happy with yours, let me know and I'll see if I can guide you towards getting it the way you want it. Okay. Okay. All right, the arms, we can also have some fun with the arms. You guys can do whatever you want here. I'm going to go ahead and put an elbow here. It's a little higher than before because the shoulder's a little higher. And then let me put a wrist out here. Again, it's about the same length, upper arm, lower arm. So I'll go ahead and connect, and I'll just put that lower arm just like that. I've got to do something with that hand, so if you guys want to just do the same hand we've been doing, you certainly can, but you kind of need to think about what angle the hand is going on. Let me even think what this hand would be doing. Maybe it's turned that way. We can go like that. Okay, something like that. Usually what happens in the classroom is students have trouble getting the hands and the feet right, and I just kind of walk around and basically draw on people's if they want me to help them get a decent hand and foot, and then they can trace that off to get, you know, future drawings. So what I can do, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do one. I'm going to scan it in actual size. You could print it out and you can trace it, and that way you guys will have some hands that you can play with. Okay, and then this one, what are we doing? We could do whatever we want. We can move it up to the head. The only thing is if you move it up to the head, some stuff happens with the anatomy of the shoulder. Okay, so if I wanted to do that, I actually need to come from deeper in here and connect more like that. Okay, there's my elbow, something like that. So something like that. So have some fun with your other arms and legs. I don't know if I love that, you guys. I feel like it's just kind of awkward here. But then again, kids are awkward, which is kind of makes it all work. It's also why we do the kids before we do the women and the men, because this way, if they just look weird, honestly, they look cute as much as anything else. So maybe I'll put an arm out here. And she's got her fingers sticking straight out, and maybe here's a little thumb, something like that. Okay. This one we're going to put some shading as well, so don't stop here. I don't want this video to go too long, but just like we did on the other kiddo, let's take a second, put a tiny bit of shading on here, and do some outlines. Make sure that you'll be able to see this when we trace it off for future drawings, because we are going to use these. And I think that'll get us pretty far here. Okay, I'm going to do the next video where we talk about faces. So let me go ahead and stop this one, and I'll see you guys in the next video.